Okay, so what is the deal with cephalosporins? Everyone finds it so difficult to learn because none of these words are natural. So today, let's learn the cephalosporins once and for all. Before we get started, I want you to have the background that cephalosporins are beta-lactam antibiotics, just like your penicillin group of drugs. So beta-lactamase producing organisms will be resistant to these as a general rule of thumb. Each generation of cephalosporins has its own unique activity. It's not necessary that the spectrum becomes broader as you go down each generation. This video is mainly focusing on third generation cephalosporins, which is the most important group of them all. And the reason why this is confusing is because when you read ceph, it all tends to get murky and merge into one word, which is why we will not be saying ceph for any of these drugs. We will be learning only the latter part of each drug. So having said that, let's quickly get started. First generation cephalosporins are active against gram-positive organisms. Gram-negative as well, sure, but mainly gram-positive. So this is our awesome table from KD Tripathi, where the drugs are given as parenteral and oral, and we will be learning it quite the same way, okay? Cefazolin, but we don't say ceph, remember? So we just go azolin, alexin, adroxyl. So first generation, first is A for apple. So all these drugs go like azolin, alexin, adroxyl, okay? And these are active against gram-positive. This much is enough. Coming to the second generation, again, parenteral first and then oral. Parenteral drug is cefuroxime. We don't need this. Under the oral drugs, you have cefaclor, cefuroxime acetyl, and cefprozil. But without saying the ceph, it is uroxime, aclor, uroxime acetyl, and prozil. Okay, let's go over it once again. First generation, first is A, so azolin, alexin, adroxyl. Say it with me, azolin, alexin, adroxyl. Second generation, uroxime for parenteral, aclor, uroxime acetyl, and prozil. So what is this uroxime acetyl? Basically, when you get two names like this, it's usually an ester, right? Ester meaning prodrug. So uroxime acetyl is a prodrug taken orally, but uroxime is directly the activated form. And the second generation cephalosporins are active against your gram-negative organisms, right? Now let's move on to the most important class of drugs here, the third generation cephalosporins. We will again go parenteral and then oral. So how do we learn this? Imagine this person is taking a taxi. In other words, otaxime, cefotaxime, okay? They go to the shop called tizoxime, ceftizoxime. Why is she going to the shop? She is going to try some clothes on. So triaxone, in other words, ceftriaxone. And she notices all the glitter on the dress and how it's dazzling. So tazidime, okay, ceftazidime. So once again from the top, otaxime, tizoxime, triaxone, and tazidime or tazidime, okay? Why are you going to the shop and trying this dress? To go to the opera. And the opera she is entering from A zone. So this becomes your opera zone. Okay? So you see there's opera, there's a singer, everyone's sitting. But wait, let's zoom in on this real quick. What is happening here? This is an ortho bro saying, I can fix that. This becomes your cefixime. Now, I would like to tell that until opera zone is the parenteral drugs. And after this, whatever we see is oral. So ortho bro is like, I can fix you. Cefixime. What is he going to fix? The proximal part of this guy's foot. So that becomes your podoxime proxital. Okay, podoxime for foot and proxital for proximal part. So orthobro fixing the proximal part of this guy's foot. This is where the oral third generation cephalosporins start. So that is your cefixime and cefpodoxime proxital. Okay, next. But he doesn't want his foot to be fixed because he has a DNR, which is a do not resuscitate. So this is your cefdinir, okay, cefdinir. Nonetheless, the ortho bro tried to save him. So this gentleman is very impressed with his skills and he says, I would like you to meet someone. So, Tamet, okay, I would like you to meet this travel agent, this French travel agent. And he says, hi, I'm Pivoxyl, nice to meet you. So what is this for? This whole thing we will remember as I would like you to meet Pivoxyl. Tamet, Pivoxyl. Okay? Let's revise the oral drugs once again. Cefixime, cefpodoxime proxital, cefdinir, and ceftamet Pivoxyl. Okay? Are we done? Oh, and what does this guy say? He says, I have a tribute for you. And that tribute equals ceftibutin. Okay? So far so good. What is the tribute? He says, for the meager price of 4 pine cones, I will offer you 4 round trips to Rome. Okay? So, pine cones and Rome. This is to remember cefepime, except it's pime, not pine, and cefpirome. cephalosporin. Okay? I know we're kind of losing the plot here, but stick with me, guys. So these were the third generation cephalosporins. Fourth, you have only parental, and that is cefepime, cefpirone. Remember, fourth generation has similar activity to third generation. It has activity against extended spectrum beta-lactamase organisms. Whew, that was a mouthful. Finally, the last two, which people also find very, very difficult to learn. For this, you guys have listened to this whole story, you've watched the whole video. Just how Rome wasn't built in a day. It takes time to learn the cephalosporins. But if you learn the cephalosporins thoroughly for your SEM exams, that is your internals, you can be a pro and carry a medal. Okay? So thoroughly for SEM exams to be a pro and carry a medal. Let me turn this also into red real quick. So why all this hangama? It goes Ceph, of course. Taroline for salmon and Ceph tobiprole, medocarol. These are the last two drugs. So if you learn thoroughly for salmon, tobiprole and medocarol, that is carry a gold medal. I know this is a bit of a stretch, but this is how we learned it in second year. This enables you to learn all the drugs, remember which is oral, which is parenteral, which generation, all of that. Hence this mnemonic. And remember the last two drugs from the fifth generation, these are basically your anti-MRSA drugs. So equivalent to vancomycin. That's it. I know I didn't say much for the first two generations, but that's because you don't need to know that much. It's mostly the third generation where most of us get stuck, hence this whole mnemonic. So let's go over it one last time. Say it with me. Otaxime, tizoxime, triaxone, tazidime, operazone, fixime, podoxime proxetil, dinir, tamet-pivoxil, and tibutin. These are your third generation. Fourth generation is epime and pyrrome. That is, and 4 pine cones, 4 trips to Rome to remember that it's in the fourth generation. Okay? All this for what? Taroline for Samuel, tobiprole, medocarol. Thank you so much for watching, guys. I wish I was a better artist, but please hit the like and subscribe button and share it with your friends. Thank you.